controversial take to open the 11 a.m. hour, but I'm not sure I've ever seen murder look so good, Stephen A. How hard is it to play dead on TV?
It's kind of hard, man, because you got to hold your breath for a while, because when the camera's on you and stuff like that, you know you can't be seen breathing, because then obviously you're alive, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard, man. You know, you laying all the way back and stuff like that. I mean, if you're sitting up, that would be different, but when you laying back like that, it's kind of hard to hold your breath for a long period of time, which I had to do, but they said I did it well. So, I mean,
I got so many questions.
They were very pleased. It was cool.
Yeah. SA, two things for you real quick. Number one, if the Knicks lose this series and Boston comes back and wins 4 games, that meme's going to be everywhere, all over the internet. You're going to be dead. That's what's going to happen. Number
You know
one.
what?
This is the
I didn't
White
think
Lotus
about
Duke
that.
meme.
I didn't think about that. That's true. That's true. I didn't even think about that.
And number two, I know there ain't no way in hell that you die with only $20 in your pocket.
Absolutely.
I know that's a lie. That ain't true.
Number one.
That's true. Well, you know.
Number one, how many takes?
Well, with the lines, with the scenes where I was talking, I mean, I got it right first
take. You
take.
need playing dead. How many dead body takes?
Five.
All right.
5 dead bodies.
You've heard the phrase "can't play dead." All right. Second, was that your Mont Blanc watch, or was that wardrobes that you got to keep?
That was I didn't get to keep it. I mean, they just gave it to me for the scene, you know.
Oh, you got to write that into your contract. What are you doing?
As you saw, there was blood and stuff on my stuff, so I didn't keep anything because, you know, I mean, I'm a dapper individual, so I mean, I'm just playing the role, you know. So what it is, you know, they can keep that. They can keep that.
All right, elsewhere in New York, outside of that murder scene, the Knicks are up 2-0 going back to the Garden tomorrow on ABC. New York erased a 20-point deficit in both Game 1 and Game 2 to beat the Celtics in Boston. They now head back home for a potential 3-0 series lead against the reigning champs. This is the first time the Knicks are leading a series 2-0 while winning both games on the road, since the 1999 playoffs. Teams that go up 2-0 in a best-of-7 series have gone on to win the series 92% of the time. However, in 7 of the last 8 completed postseasons, at least one team has won a series after trailing 2-0. All right, Jay Will, let's begin with you. Is Game 3 a must-win for the New York Knickerbockers?
You're damn right it is. Listen, you don't play with your food when you're going against a team with the best offensive rating in NBA history. It's 123.2 rating. And look, 2 of the games, they've been down 20. I'm going to be in the building on Saturday. This building is going to be electric. MSG is going to be off the charts. What do you do when somebody's down? You keep them down. And SA, Wendy, you both know this personally. Shooters shoot. What's the last thing you want shooters to see? The ball go in the net. You don't want them to find their rhythm, because if the Celtics find their rhythm, all the pressure will then be back on New York, because the Celtics will have found their jump shot. And if they shoot anywhere better, don't let them shoot in the 40s from the three-point line, because that momentum, and by the way, they're a better team on the road than they are at home. 33-8 on the road this season, which set a franchise record for the Boston Celtics. So them coming into that building, knowing all the history, playing at this level, when the crowd's going to be electric, if they shoot the lights out of the ball, all that momentum is going to swing back towards Boston. And we've seen it before in playoffs back in the past. So I think New York, if they're down, keep them down, keep your foot on their neck. And if you get Game 3, then that pressure just goes all towards Boston. Because people don't really believe that the Knicks fans believe it. But everybody else who follows basketball, you're just waiting for the Boston Celtics to find their rhythm, because you know this is not the team we've seen them be throughout the course of the regular season.
Well, you're looking at the New York Knicks. I mean, one can make the argument, just make sure you walk away with at least one victory and you go back to Boston for Game 5, up 3-1. But I'm with you, Jay. I'm of the mindset that you got to win Game 3. And the reason why is because what you don't want to do is walk into Game 4 with Boston believing, all right, we got one. We're back on track. Let's close this out now and tie this series up and reclaim home court advantage. You don't want that to happen. That's a disaster for the New York Knicks. The Boston Celtics are 33-8 on the road. They've played better on the road than they've played at home. The New York Knicks are undefeated on the road this year in the postseason, but they're 1-2 at Madison Square Garden. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, I don't expect Jason Tatum to continue to struggle. I don't expect Jaylen Brown to continue to struggle. I don't expect the Boston Celtics collectively to continue to struggle. That means the New York Knicks are going to have to up their game and be prepared to play a hell of a lot better than we've seen even them play. Can we anticipate and expect the Boston Celtics to go 8 minutes plus in the fourth quarter without a field goal, missing 13 consecutive shots? I don't think we can expect that. So these are the kind of things that I'm looking at. These are the champions, and they're not giving it to you. You're going to have to go and take it. And that's what I think the New York Knicks need to be prepared to do. And it starts by treating Game 3 with the urgency that it deserves, which is why I was happy that Karl Anthony Towns spent time in Boston in the locker room reminding them he's been here before. Minnesota was up 2-0 last year on Denver after winning the first 2 games in Denver and almost lost the damn series. It took them Game 7 because Denver came storming back. You don't want to find yourself in that position if you're the New York Knicks, because these are the champions that we're talking about here. And I'm not sleeping on them one bit. I'm still worried about Boston.
I'm glad you brought up what Carl said, because there's a lot of guys in that Knicks locker room. This team has not done this together before. It's a very experienced team, actually. When you talk about Karl Towns, who was up 2-0 in a playoff series last year in Minnesota, where they won both games in Denver, then came home and lost games 3 and 4. He was immediately talking to his teammates about that. You got Mikal Bridges, who's a veteran of multiple long playoff runs with Phoenix, including going to the finals. You got PJ Tucker over there. And I know PJ Tucker has not got a big role. PJ Tucker's got a big voice. This is a champion. There's a guy in there with the ring. You got OG Anunoby, who's not an outspoken at all. He's not going to be a vocal leader, but certainly leads by example. There's a lot of guys in that Celtics locker room who can have a calming force. in the Knicks locker room, I don't think you're going to see the Knicks come out with any sort of belief that this is not going to be very difficult. I think everybody on that roster will say that. It's a very unusual series. I've never quite seen anything like it. I'm having a difficult time analyzing it, to be honest with you, because conventional wisdom and conventional operation of the games have gone out. Conventionally, analytically, the Celtics should be 2-0 up. And even if you allow for one game sort of going to the classic playoff variance, it's very hard to explain how both games played out in that exact fashion. The idea that the Knicks have only led for about 10% of the time but are 2-0, it's an unusual situation. The intangible is the Knicks' confidence. That confidence that the Knicks have late in games, even when they're behind, has been the X factor. So conventionally, I would say that if a team is up 2-0 coming home for Game 3, that they're up 2 breaks, and that Game 3 isn't a must-win game. You're not coming into this game thinking you got to play Jalen Brunson 45 minutes. You're not coming into this game saying you're playing 7 guys and that's it. But I understand why you're saying it. Number one, if the Knicks win Game 3, historically, conventionally, it's over, because you never see anybody's never come back from 3-0. So that's big. But I think because this is so much riding on the edge, where the difference between Boston being up 2, even though I know Boston's played awful, the difference between them being up 2-0 and being down 2-0 is very, very thin. And so putting them down 0-3 with giving the Knicks, because the difference in this series has been confidence. Just from a confidence standpoint, I can see why you can create this case. Michael Wilbon said earlier today, the winner of Game 3 will win the series. I sat back in my chair.
Do the fingers.
Because I was like, is that true? Because a lot of times I've covered series where I've felt that. Typically, I feel it in Game 4s and Game 5s. When one team is up 2-1 or it's 2-2, that's when you kind of feel like whoever wins this game wins it. I'm not sure I've ever been involved with a series where a series has been 2-0 and I've said whoever wins Game 3 wins the series. But I think Wilbon's instinct might be onto something here. It depends on how it goes. But conventional thinking is getting me nowhere here.
But Wendy, I would say to you that I think also another intangible is the lack there of confidence for Boston. Like right now, as a player, when you're in these games and you're getting wide open looks and the ball is not going in, you start conversations with yourself. You are no longer just playing with freedom. Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown are at their best when they're playing free. They're not thinking, they're reacting, right? And a lot of those habits are able to kick into different gears. So when you're having conversations with yourself, and think about it, we saw that with Jason Tatum. Like that drive against Mitchell Robinson, when he's going left, that's an easy stick your right foot in the ground, step back to your left. That's a jumper. That's a shot he would have taken before. But because he's thinking so much and because of the way game one went, he's no longer reading and reacting. He's trying to force the issue, which is why he found himself in the corner trying to make an ill-advised pass over the top of Mikal Bridges. So that lack of confidence is something that the Knicks need to keep forcing the issue on. And by contesting and making things difficult, that lack of belief is something that they have a chance to take advantage of now. If they start seeing the ball go in, that freedom comes back into play. And the last thing we want to say is that freedom led to the best offensive rating in NBA history. That's how talented this offensive team is. You don't want to see them find that freedom.
Now, one of the things I don't think people have asked themselves about, I mean, because obviously people like myself and others, we're in our Knick fandom and all of that other stuff. But, you know, that's in the immediate moment. You're enjoying yourself. That's what sports is all about. But when we dissect it and put on our basketball hats and get serious about dissecting what's transpiring, let's look at Jalen Brunson in game 2, 17 points. 9 points in the fourth quarter, no doubt, but 17 points on 32% shooting, okay? 2 of 9 from three-point range. We keep saying, and you said this, Wendy, the New York Knicks haven't played that great offensively. No doubt about that. Their best game hasn't happened yet. We saw Mikal Bridges go scoreless for 3 quarters and then score 14 in the fourth quarter. Jay, Wendy, simple question. Have we even contemplated if the New York Knicks do show up to play and Brunson explodes and the other guys play well and they still lose? That is what I'm saying to be worried about. What if Jalen Brunson shows up game 3 and plays well and Karl-Anthony Towns plays well and Mikal Bridges plays well, but Boston, who is fully capable of doing so, still finds a way to play better and win? Where does that leave us? That's why you can't underestimate anything. That's why you can't take a game off. That's why you can't take a game for granted. These are the Boston Celtics. Tatum, Brown, a finals MVP, 2 champions who are very, very experienced and accustomed to being in the conference finals. Semifinals is nothing to them. They're accustomed to being further than this. And these guys have now come into their house and beat them 2 games on the road. I expect Boston to be fired up and ready for game 3 because they know what it's like to walk into that garden. But they also know how it's like to handle it. They will be ready. Will the Knicks be ready? I'm praying they will.
We'll do more on this later in the show, but Wendy, for right now, I wanted to get your thoughts on something else. Cavs and Pacers face off game 3 tonight in Indy. Pacers lead the series 2-0. Would you rather have Donovan Mitchell or Tyrese Halliburton leading the charge tonight?
What a question. You're putting me in a tough spot here. Let me just say, if you're a Cavs fan, you're going to be very encouraged that just a few minutes ago, they wrapped shoot around and all 3 of their questionable players, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and DeAndre Hunter, were out there on the court working through shoot around. It doesn't mean they're all going to play, but if they weren't out there, I would say almost no chance. So they are looks, and I get it. If they lose tonight, they can't. I think they're done. So this is all or nothing. How much they can contribute, I don't know. By the way, I've had conversations about Donovan Mitchell's value in the playoffs with like Hall of Fame coaches and executives. He is extremely well respected because of his ability at both ends. I know he doesn't have the reputation as being a good defender, but he can defend in situations. So I probably go with Donovan, but I only go with Donovan if he gets his 2 other All-Stars back with him. So let's see. That's going to be a big factor at the tip-off who's available.
Great note on the shoot-around, because that's why I think you're seeing the point spread move from Cleveland -1 up to 3.5 at the moment, and that's probably going to keep going. Stephen A., jump in.
This has been a disappointment for me. It's been good from the standpoint that the Indiana Pacers are proven to be a good team. They don't have anybody great, but they got a lot of really good players. All right, Neesmith, Nemhard, and these brothers, and Halliburton. I want to hear the damn thing about him being overrated. This brother has balled out. And I remember I wanted them to draft him instead of Obi Toppin. No shade on Obi Toppin, who I'm proud of as well. But I wanted the Knicks to draft him years ago instead of Obi Toppin. Having said all of that, the fact that Cleveland has sustained so many damn injuries has really taken some of the luster off of this. If this had happened and Darius Garland is on the court for game 2 and DeAndre Hunter is on and Evan Mobley are on the court for game 2, that's different. But you just know that without them healthy, they're not beating Indiana. And that is what has taken some of the sizzle off of this. To have such a great, great regular season, to view them as the number 1 threat to the Boston Celtics, and then to just get beat up at the most inopportune time, it's kind of depressing.
Stephen A., should we have the quick conversation, or should it be looming that the Pacers have a chance to win the whole thing? Anybody want to throw that out there?
Yeah, I will. I agree with you. They got a chance because they can shoot. They play together.
Right.
I like them.
Let's leave it there. I think that series is going to pick up a little